everyone, and welcome to the 101 on Sports here on Fox 2. I'm your host, Brooke Grimsley. This week, we're talking to St. Louis native and Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook. He helped lead Mizzou to their first 10-win season since 2014. We talk about the adversity that he faced last season and how Mizzou proved the doubters wrong this season. Thank you so much for joining me today, Brady. It's crazy because the last time I was able to talk to you like this one-on-one, you had just graduated high school from Chaminade. You had a fantastic career over there, and then you decided that you were going to go to Mizzou. And in that conversation, I remember you said, I'm a Mizzou guy through and through. You grew up here in St. Louis, grew up a Mizzou fan, and you were able to make your dream a reality. College football feels like it's far away. Two local athletes are getting a head start enrolling early at Mizzou. Chaminade quarterback Brady Cook and wide receiver Jay Macklin sat down with me this past week to discuss their hopes at the next level. Brady, there's a big opportunity for you here. Kelly Bryant's moving on. Obviously, his time there is done, and you're enrolling early. I'm sure, like you said, you want to make an impact early and show what you have. And a lot of people are looking at you as, you know, if you read some of the message boards or articles, they're saying you could easily start as a true freshman. Is that your goal, to see if you can make an impact very early on for this team?
Of course. Obviously, my goal is to start and make an impact early. But, going into it, enrolling early as an early freshman, you can't have expectations. You just got to go in with a competitive mindset. And that's what I plan to do. But, I'm going to work my butt off and hopefully make an impact real early from Mizzou.
There's a lot of transition with Mizzou football. So Barry Odom out. Now we have Eli Drinkwitz in. Some kids decided to reopen their recruitment, but you guys decided to stay. What did Drinkwitz say to you guys that made you want to stay and continue to go on to play at Mizzou?
I mean, right off the bat, he made an effort to call all of us, come out to St. Louis. He made us a priority, and, that was big because, for me and Jay, he's an offensive-minded coach, so I think that's big for us too. So, I can understand why guys opened up their recruitment, but, I'm a Mizzou guy, and I want to play in Columbia.
Has it just been surreal to go from a dream to making this actually happen?
Yeah. Since that interview, obviously so much has happened, and I've been through so much. And, my Mizzou career has, really taken shape. But this season it's really been a dream. Like, I tell people that all the time. Just, I feel very, very blessed right now, because, I don't think it's every day that people really get to live out their dreams just how they pictured. And this season, it was a testament to, me staying on that track and following my passion. So it's been a really, really fun year.
Because I remember in that interview we discussed, you were recruited by Barry Odom, and then they, of course, made the change over to Eli Drinkwitz. And I asked you about why you wanted to stay at Mizzou, because a lot of players sometimes enter or open up their recruitment again after you have a coaching change like that. And you really bought into Eli Drinkwitz and what he was going to build at Mizzou. It seems like you made the right decision there, right?
Yeah, I think it was maybe 2 weeks before signing day, and Coach Odom got fired, right? And he was moving on. And at that point, I've been pretty much 100% committed to Mizzou for a couple of years at that point. I haven't talked to a lot of schools. I didn't have a lot of other relationships with schools. With that in mind, and just knowing that I wanted to play at Mizzou regardless, I committed to Mizzou. And of course, I was recruited by that coaching staff. But at the end of the day, I just had to trust that, this was my dream, and, Coach Drink was going to be the man to lead us. So it all worked out, and I'm blessed I stayed with my decision.
Before we get into this season, I want to ask you, obviously growing up a Mizzou fan, do you remember your favorite memory growing up and watching Mizzou football?
Oh, it's funny. I actually remember some of the bad moments even more, oddly enough. I can vividly remember the overtime field goal versus South Carolina when Baggett hit the post. We lost in overtime, and that was like at a key moment in the season. I'll never forget the feeling in the stands watching that. But I do remember, my earliest memories. I think it was Big J Mac. Big J Mac took back a either punt or kickoff in the Dome versus Illinois. And that was like one of my first memories of Mizzou football. And seeing Chase and seeing Big J Mac. So, those are my earliest memories, and I probably won't forget those.
Well, Brady, you guys just closed out the season with a huge victory over your rival Arkansas. First 10-win season since 2014 for the Mizzou program. Now, I feel like outside of the program, especially nationally, if you looked at the SEC media preseason polls, Mizzou wasn't really picked to finish to do that well in the SEC East, but you guys really silenced all the doubters this season. Now, I know that nationally people didn't think this was going to happen, but internally, did you guys think that you had something special here and you would be able to accomplish a 10-win season?
Yeah, this was my fourth season here at Mizzou. Um, I didn't expect this, to be preseason hyped up and to have all of that hype and high rankings going into this season. I think we all knew what that was going to look like until we proved it, right? So I'm sure you've heard it, but like our team really lives by the something to prove motto. And that started really last January. We said, listen, we know that we're not going to be ranked high in the preseason. People are going to doubt us. They're going to count us out because we've been through it before. And we haven't given them a reason not to. So, we told ourselves, this is the year. We have the pieces. Let's just go prove ourselves right and prove them wrong.
Now, going back to the start of the season, there was a little bit of a quarterback battle between you and Sam Horn, and then you rightfully earned the starting quarterback job. I just remember seeing the pride in Eli Drinkwitz's face when he said, this is going to be our quarterback moving forward. What was that time like for you at the start of the season?
Yeah, obviously I had to go back out and earn it again. And I had to compete just like I always have. I really just kept my head down. I didn't think too much of it. I believed in myself and I knew that if I just put in the work and just do what I do, I've won this job before. I'm going to win it again, except, this season's going to turn out different. So I held on to that and just really kept my head down.
What did Eli say to you after the game?
Yeah, he pretty much just said, "Hey, like, this is your team. Let's go do it." And it was that simple, that quick, and from that moment on, there's been a lot of good days, good memories, good wins.
We're not done talking to Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook. Coming up next after the break here on the 101 on Sports, we're going to discuss with Brady what it was like facing adversity this season as he was booed by some of his own fans before the Kansas State game. That's coming up next here on Fox 2. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the 101 on Sports here on Fox 2. I'm your host, Brooke Grimsley. We go back to our interview now with Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook, who faced a lot of adversity last season after dealing with a shoulder injury, and then he faced even more adversity this season, but this time it came from the fan base. And I know it might be just kind of hard to talk about, but of course it was something that was talked about a little bit nationally that before the K-State game, there were some boos. How hard was that for you to have to hear that from some of the fans?
Yeah, obviously last year was tough. And I'll always say this, last year kind of made me who I was and who I am. There was still a lot of boos last year. So when I heard that versus K-State, to be honest with you, it was fuel. I wasn't surprised, to be honest with you. It felt at that time like I've already been at the bottom. I've already heard this before. It's up to me to change this. And yeah, I think that game at K-State, it really changed the narrative. And I'm glad I was able to kind of tune that out and just go play.
As you mentioned, you went through a lot of adversity last season due to your shoulder injury that you even had to get surgery for. So was that kind of a full circle redemption moment because you got injured in that K-State game and to be able to come back and have that huge win against K-State?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it probably had the most personal feel of a football game I've ever played in. I remember standing up before the team on Friday of that week, so the day before the game, and just kind of telling the team what this game meant to me. I just kind of shared some of my feelings and, kind of what happened last year. But, the game last year, what I told the team was, like they messed me up for a whole year. I'm still dealing with, just getting my shoulder back healthy and making sure it feels okay for this game, a whole year later. So it had a really, really personal feel to it. I'll never forget that game last year. But I'll also never forget the game versus K-State this year. So um, it was a personal game, and man, I'm glad it ended how it ended.
And you played like it out there too. That you could see the fuel in that game for you. With that shoulder injury, because that's always scary for a quarterback, especially in that position to have a shoulder injury. Did you have any concerns that it could be possibly career ending for you?
I didn't. I knew that I was going to be able to come back and I was going to be able to play. There was definitely some moments where I was like, man, like, is this thing ever going to feel like it did before? And my confidence was low. Really, even to begin the season, it still wasn't in shape. It would break down quick, it would fatigue quick. It still hurt. And just slowly, it started to get back. I started to gain confidence, and luckily that's not the case. But there was definitely moments of self doubt where that was a real thought.
We have a lot more to talk about with Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook, including his favorite moment from this past season. That's coming up next here on the 101 on Sports on Fox 2. Welcome back to the 101 on Sports here on Fox 2. I'm your host, Brooke Grimsley. We go back to our interview now with Mizzou quarterback Brady Cook as we talk about his favorite moment from this past season, and we talk about the special St. Louis connection that they have in the Mizzou locker room. Now let's go into favorite moments from the season, and I know there has to be a lot. I think that maybe my personal favorite is going to be 4th and 17. If that's not your favorite, what is another favorite moment from you?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely the 4th and 17. Definitely our whole team win over Tennessee, and seeing Cody Schrader's performance and watching him, just straight up ball out. That was fun. But I mean, I think I have to go with the K-State game, and really my two favorite plays from that game. Obviously, the 61-yard field goal. Watching that on the sideline and seeing the crowd just rush the field, and that moment, that's something I'll never forget. But also early in the game on our first offensive drive, throwing that touchdown to Luther, where he scored, and it just, I'll say this, like that play, that specific play, it just ignited something in our team. It gave them confidence to say, like, yeah, like we can do this. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of my favorite moments, and yeah.
Cody Schrader has, in my opinion, been one of the best stories in college football this season. It seems like you guys have a very special relationship. What have you seen from Cody this year?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Cody really just come into his own. I think when he first got here and what he shared with me was, he felt like he was trying to play a character and play somebody he wasn't, and he wasn't very confident. And this year he said, screw it. This is my last year. I belong here. I can do it. And he did it. I mean, he's so talented. And I think along his story of being the underdog and being the kid that came from Truman, I think a lot of people forget that the dude's just straight up a baller. He has talent. He can play at this level, and ultimately he was just missed on in high school recruiting wise. So, um, I mean, he's an incredible player. I'm excited to see his career in the NFL pan out because I know he's not going to give up easy.
And what about Luther Burden? Of course, I have to ask about Luther. You guys have a great relationship as well.
Yeah, I mean, Lou, I mean, really same thing. I saw his confidence from last year to this year. I mean, just explode. Last year, even off the field and in the locker room, he was quiet. He was reserved. He just didn't have that confidence that you see in Luther now. just from the start, all the way back to January after last season was finished, he was just different. The way he played, the way he practiced, he built relationships with other people on the team, and he really bought in, and that made the difference because once Luther gets that confidence, no one can stop him.
What is it like just looking around the locker room? We just mentioned two St. Louis guys that you were playing with. Obviously, you, a St. Louis guy as well. What is it like looking around the locker room and seeing so many St. Louisans playing for Mizzou?
Yeah, I think it's a sense of pride, and it's a sense of having St. Louis behind us. It's not only just the fan base here in Columbia and the students and the people on campus. No, we have like a city back home. And they're rooting us on. And obviously, the being able to go back home and play at Memphis, play against Memphis in the Dome. That was something we'll never forget for sure. I think that game meant a lot to all of us.
And with Eli Drinkwitz, he's stuck to his word of actually recruiting in this area. And I think a hallmark of any good college football coach is not just recruiting, but developing players. You mentioned Cody Schrader's story. We know that Luther obviously was a highly sought after young player here in the St. Louis area. But how has he helped you develop into the quarterback that we saw this season?
Yeah, when I first got to Mizzou, he was the quarterbacks coach, and he was my quarterback coach for really 2.5 years. So a lot of what I learned about college football came from Coach Drink. And when you first get to campus as a college quarterback, you really don't know anything, to be honest with you. It's a completely different game. It moves at a way faster speed, and he really just helped me navigate through that. Start to just dissect what defenses run in this conference. How to operate and learn an offense. I think being able to operate and learn an offense very quickly as a quarterback is one of the most important things. And he taught me how to do that, and it's taken some time, no doubt. But he's helped me a lot develop as a quarterback.
What do you think of his comments after the Arkansas game where he said that Mizzou is America's team?
I liked it. America's team, that has a good ring to it. I do believe that. I think we're America's team because we did it the right way. We were counted out and we just went to work. We went to work and made it a real thing. A lot of people didn't believe in us. Probably a lot of people within our own building didn't believe we could do it. But ultimately we did. And we did it together, and it's been a really, really fun team to play on.
And now you guys are waiting to figure out which bowl that you will be going to. Is there any personal ties or one that you're kind of rooting for?
I'm kind of rooting for the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, just because my sister and brother-in-law, niece and nephew, they live in Dallas, and that would be their first game of the year they could come to, and I'd be able to spend some time with them. So selfishly, I would like to see the Cotton Bowl matchup, but honestly, any of those New Year's Six bowls, I'll have a smile on my face.
And this is just kind of a precautionary question, just because in this day and age of the transfer portal, I feel like you just always have to ask athletes this. But you're not going anywhere, right? We'll see you back next season.
Yeah, as of right now, I don't plan on going anywhere, and yeah, I think I plan to make next year another special year at Mizzou.
Do you guys think that you guys can replicate or even build off of what you had going on this season?
100%. I think the core unit of the guys we have and the coaching staff, we're going to build on it. There's a lot to learn from, but we're going to have even more confidence going into next year. And obviously, we're losing some key pieces. But as you said, with this day and age, with the transfer portal, hopefully we can pull together, another big time team and go do this thing.
I also wanted to ask you about the NIL because you're one of the athletes that I've seen that has really benefited from NIL and also the local ties to here in St. Louis. A lot of people still think that it's controversial, but just from a player's perspective, what are some of the benefits that you have seen from NIL being able to benefit off of your name, image, and likeness for once?
Yeah, I mean, it's when I first got to college, I never expected to actually make real money, right? And, it's changed my life in a lot of ways. Obviously, financially, it gives us the opportunity to, start our life and make sure that, we can provide, whether NFL doesn't work out or it does. And then just the different relationships I've built through NIL and different skills I've learned, whether it's, reviewing contracts, holding different meetings, forcing myself to reach out to people and speak and talk about myself and talk about why this should work. It's taught me a lot of lessons. I think the financial part even goes without saying, but it's been really beneficial for athletes.
And just two more kind of fun questions for you. So, as I mentioned, when the last time I talked to you one-on-one, just graduating high school, you were getting ready for the dream to go to Mizzou, and now that has become a reality. What is the next dream for Brady Cook?
The next dream really, um, as far as I can look ahead right now, is really to number one, win this New Year's Six Bowl, which will go down in Mizzou history and will always be remembered. And then also to make a college football playoff, appearance next year. And after that, I would love to play in the NFL. So those are the three things I got my eye on, and that's in my head right now.
And last one, your favorite Mizzou uniform, because you guys always go through a lot during the season, and I feel like fans are always split on which one is the best. What is your favorite uni combination?
My favorite is probably, last year versus South Carolina, we wore all white, white helmet with a yellow face mask, and then a yellow, it said Tigers in like script font. And I just thought it was so clean. The contrast was with the gold face mask, but other than that, it was all white. But we have a lot of different good combos. To be honest with you, I like our all black. I think I like the all black or all white. To be honest with you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brady. And I took note of what you hope to accomplish next. And so when I talk to you, hopefully I'll talk to you sooner than what you accomplish in the next 5 years. But we'll keep note of what you'll be able to accomplish next.
That works for me.
All right. Thank you, Brady.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It was great catching up with Mizzou quarterback and St. Louis native Brady Cook, and we're excited to see what he accomplishes next season. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Sunday for another episode of the 101 on Sports here on Fox 2.